Hey y'all, welcome back. Thank you for clicking on this one. You're really going to enjoy it. I'm kind of doing things a little bit bass-ackwards here. Usually I film an intro and then go into the hunting. However, I got here a little bit late today, so I didn't have a lot of time. I figured I would go ahead and hit the stand real quick and then do everything afterwards, and that's what I'm doing. So if you're watching this video, like most of my other videos, it was a success. I did shoot a big boar tonight, and if you want to go ahead and fast forward through all this talking and see that, go ahead. I'll leave in the comment section below, I'll leave the time frame to hit that. I'm going to go ahead and get in there, get him loaded up. I will meet back up with you guys here shortly once I get him all positioned and show you the recovery video. Okay, I'm facing a little bit of a conundrum here. When I got up this morning, the wind said it was going to be out of the southeast. Light, like 5 to 6 miles an hour, which happens to be the stand that I want to hunt this evening. However, we had a front move through just a few hours ago, and right now the wind is calm. When I first got here, it was blowing out of the north. I've checked it 3 different times and I'm getting 3 different winds. I'm getting slight north, I'm getting a little bit of an east wind, and I just checked it and now it's blowing out of the south. So obviously it's in a transition phase. The feeder goes off here in about 30 minutes, so I don't have a lot of time. Normally, if I wouldn't have drove 3 hours to get here, I'd call this hunt off because it's not a good idea to go whenever the wind's calm or swirling like it is. However, I'm going to go ahead and trust that the wind is going to blow out of the east because that's what it said when I just checked the app. It said I'm going to have an east wind. So I'm going to go ahead and trust that, and I'm going to go ahead and hunt on the north side, which would be a stand for the south wind, like I had planned earlier before I left the house. And I'm just going to go with it. But I don't like this. I don't like these calm days or these swirling winds. It never works out. So I'm going to go ahead and stick to the plan. I'm going to head in, hope for the best. And sometimes that's really all you can do. I mean, like I said, I drove almost 3 hours to get here, so I don't really have a lot of choice at this point. But I don't know, it's going to take a lot of luck to get one shot this evening. Okay, well, I made it in the blind about a half hour ago. The feeder went off about 15 minutes ago. The wind is very, very tricky right now. It's actually blowing out of the east somewhat, very light. But the way these pigs have always came in, they've came in from the north and they've came in kind of to the southeast there. So it's going to be very, very tricky. I like to hunt this stand in a southeast wind, and right now it's kind of almost blowing somewhat north sometimes. So it's gonna be a little tricky this evening. A lot of times when these fronts move through like this wind calms down and it starts to swirl. I do not like hunting these kind of evenings, but I did drive a long ways to get here, and so I'm just going to try to make the best of it. There is one possible place that the pigs have came in before, which is to the west here, and if they do that, everything's going to turn out fine. But it's very rare they do that. I've had a really big group hitting right at dark, and then a little after dark, there's been a big boar show up. It'd be nice if something showed up a little early tonight, but I'll take whatever comes in. If I have to sit here after dark, it's fine. I've got lights on this feeder. I think it'd be really cool to do a night hunt. If not tonight, maybe one other night. I'll sit on this feeder after dark and show you what it looks like with these lights on and hunt some pigs. It's really, really cool. Meanwhile, I'm just going to sit here. I'm going to pay attention to my other cellular cameras around. When I start getting alerted that there's pigs at them, I'll know kind of a little bit better about what direction they're going to come from. I'm going to be shooting 2 different arrow setups again. I don't really like the results I've been getting out of that 2-blade cutthroat. So recently I went and picked up some iron wheels. They're single bevel. They're actually a right twist single bevel, but they do have bleeder blades on them. So I want to give those a shot. I'm going to go ahead and probably knock it. If I get a big boar come in, hopefully I can stick in with that, and we'll actually be able to see if maybe I get a little better blood trails with it. But shouldn't have any problem with penetration. It is a heavier arrow, like I said. And hopefully something comes in tonight and I get something shot. But just going to sit tight. Hopefully in the next half hour to an hour I see some action, and we'll have to just wait and see what happens. is just swirling really bad right now. I'm hoping that it'll get a good east wind where it'll blow over that way. I've got some wind floaters that are really hard to see, but you can see it floating here. And it is going east, but it's also coming out of the north a little bit, which is horrible. I just smoked that big boar. I mean, I drilled him good. I hit him with that big, heavier arrow set up, 690 grains with the iron wheel. That was the single bevel iron wheel with the bleeder blades. I mean, I don't think he went 50, 60 yards. I heard him thrashing around in there. But I got a good pass through. I saw the arrow sticking out both sides. It was a good hit. And he didn't go very far, so. Man, I'm shaking. Those bigger boars like that, they get me a little bit more fired up than just shooting sows. But it was a good evening so far. I'm surprised this wind has not been cooperative. However, he came from the one direction. If I had one direction to pick that I needed a pick to come from, he came in from that direction. So it worked out. Sometimes it just works out in your favor like that. I wasn't very optimistic for this evening, but that was the exact pig I wanted to shoot. He's a big old boar. I've had pictures of a couple big boars. There's actually one out here even bigger than him, but he didn't come in till usually after dark. But that guy came in perfect. It's about 7:45, so I've still got a good 45 minutes of daylight left. And I'm just going to sit here and let it play out. That was my heavier arrow setup. That was the only arrow I have of that weight in my quiver. I'm going to switch over to my lighter arrow setup, which is 460, 465. And if that big group comes in tonight, I'll try to shoot one of them. But either way, we got a bigger one down already, so it's a great evening. But thank you guys for following along so far, and hope you enjoyed it so far. Well, I decided to go ahead and get down a little early. Maybe do a recovery while I've got a little daylight left. That pig was standing right here. I shot him at 23 yards. And I've already got, looks like pretty good blood. Here's the business end of my arrow. Looks like that iron wheel stayed intact really well. It is still razor sharp. I'm not even going to have to touch that up, and I can shoot another pig with it. I'm going to leave it right here for now. Follow this blood. You can see where they've been rooting up a little bit. It's all old. Pretty sure I see him laying right over here. I think he's laying right inside this cut. There's the other half of my arrow. Well, he broke that one. I heard him crash down in here. Oh, I think I see him right there. Yep, that's him. Oh, yep, he's done. Oh, man. Broadhead came out right here on the plate, shoulder. Oh. See where that broadhead exited. Flip him over. Went in right here, but he was quartering. He got a little bit of headgear on him. Pig's probably gonna go, I'm gonna say right at 180, maybe even pushing 2. So while I've got daylight, I'll get down here, get the truck, get him loaded up in the cart, and wheel him up and out of here. I've got a little bit of incline to wheel him up, but it shouldn't be too bad. Almost a full moon tonight. It's May the 3rd. Just a beautiful evening. I do these videos so you guys can get out and see this kind of stuff as well. Hopefully it motivates you to get out here and hunt and just enjoy what God has created for us. All right, for those of you wanting to know what he weighed, I've got his nose just barely off the ground. You can see him swinging. And it looks like 193 is the number. Well, you guys may be getting tired of hearing it, but once again, it was another successful evening. Just a beautiful afternoon. I mean, picture perfect. You know, I think I'm extremely blessed to have the places that I have to go to and to be able to do the things that I do, and to have an audience like you guys that I can share this stuff with. I try to never ever take this stuff for granted. This is something that I'm very passionate about. I love to bow hunt these pigs, and I love to be able to bring you this kind of content because it's entertaining, but more so because I like to educate you guys, especially when it comes to these pigs, because sometimes they're a little bit tricky. In my opinion, they're one of the smartest animals in North America, and these big mature boars like this are some of the hardest animals you'll ever bow hunt in your life, I promise you. The wind tonight for this hunt was a little bit iffy. It was out of the east, very light. However, this guy came in the one direction that I needed him to, which was out of the east. Kind of an odd situation because a lot of times they don't come from that direction, but he did, gave me a good quartering away shot. I was shooting that heavier arrow setup with a 200 grain iron wheel single bevel, right wing bevel with bleeder blades. For those of you that watched that last video, I shot that bigger boar. I was using that 200 grain cutthroat, and that was actually the fourth pig that I shot with it. And every pig that I have killed with that broadhead has gave me lackluster results as far as the blood trails. So I went ahead and picked up some of those iron wheels about a week ago, and I decided to use them tonight. And so far, 1 for 1, it gets an A+. You guys seen that arrow? It kind of went through and stuck out the other side. He actually broke that arrow in two as he was running off. And it's kind of funny because he broke the arrow exactly in the middle. Both halves are almost identical. But because of that, that broadhead never went through and hit the ground. And it is razor sharp, guys. I'm here to tell you, it held its edge, which is amazing. Going through those ribs and probably through that gristle plate and still held up as well as it did. That broadhead is razor sharp, and I don't even think I'm gonna have to touch it up in order to shoot another pig with it. It's that sharp. But he only made it about 40 yards, piled up. As you guys heard, you could hear him flopping around in the brush back there. And I was able to pretty much drive my truck right up to the feeder and go down and get him loaded up. But anyway, I wanted to say thank you again for following along. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, please click the like button. For those of you that ain't subscribed, of course, always hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. You'll get alerts whenever I upload these videos. I'm trying to, at this point, upload at least one every 2 weeks. I would love to get on a schedule where I can upload weekly, but unfortunately right now I just don't have the time. But hey, as always, thank you for watching, and you guys are gonna see me again hopefully real soon on my next hunt.